Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our second episode of Peaceology State on today, Monday, the 22nd day of July 2024, right here on the big station, Q95 in Rosa Dominica. I'm happy to be your host again tonight, Dr. Peter KB St. Jean, and joining us remotely, Patrice KB St. Jean, our co host, and we have a guest in studio. We're going to find out his name in a minute. Patrice, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you all?
Well, we are doing quite well. We're happy to know that you are safe back in the United States, and we enjoyed having you here in the NHI. We miss you in studio. A lot of folks seem to enjoy your voice, but I'm glad that you're sounding loud and clear, and we're happy that you're here.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad I made it too because some flights or many flights were being canceled. So I'm very lucky to have made it back home.
Yes, thank you. And thank you also for being in company with another youth. And thank you for the voice that you shared and the spirit that you shared among our listeners, the work that you did, the great art that you helped to contribute at Peaceology Acres before you left. And we have with us our guest. You know what? I'm going to let him introduce his own self. Tell them who you are.
Good morning, my listeners on the social media. My name is Colonel Charles. I'm coming from the beautiful community of Silver Lake.
Yes, Colonel Charles from Silver Lake. We want to thank Alvin Anthony, one of his sponsors, Jackie St. Jean, Cecilia, Marilyn, and Newton, who contributed to Colonel's scholarship. And he'll talk about other sponsors as well. He's a recent graduate from the Goodwill Secondary School with 5 awards, and he's going to talk to us about what is it like for him to have gone through the first to the fifth form, one shot, one time, the challenges, the triumphs, the greatness from the community of Silver Lake. We want to ensure that we have youthful voices with us. And Kunal, we're happy to have you here with us tonight. Patrice, what are you saying to our youth joining us here tonight? I know we have a lot to say, but what's first on your mind?
I'm just excited to hear your story, hear what questions are prompted, and just have a conversation, really.
Nice, nice. And I've been learning from both of you, and well, Patrice, can you give our listeners a little bit of the lineup of what to expect in the next few minutes? I know we'd like to give a little heads up.
So once again, we have our show today. It's from 8 to 10 p.m. We have a few nice segments lined up for you all. We'll be talking a bit with our guest. We'll talk about a bike show that just recently happened, as well as Peaceology, because we know this is, well, what the show is about, but also something that we think we could talk a little bit more about, such as what is low stress and what is high joy and how do they coexist together, basically.
Yes, yes. And listeners, thank you for coming on. We've given you some time to relax I don't know if it's still too late for or too early for a nice little Cime Courtois, a nice little basilic or bergamot or whatever. Maybe a little bit of coconut water or just some nice sus water, whatever it is that you're enjoying, that you're sitting here listening to the station, having gone to work, having had some time, maybe you did a little bit of gardening, maybe you enjoyed the beautiful day, and you're here listening to us here on the big station for the second episode of Peaceology State. So what we're going to do, as usual, we're going to try every week to have a bit of live accordion. And this song, and the idea of this song, know the story of our peace. You can say, know the story of my peace, know the story of his peace, know the story of her peace, know the story of our peace. The whole idea of this music that I compose is to help us do what is called in therapy existentialism, which is bringing us to the moments. One of the things that human beings have is the capability of memory and the capability of imagination. Memory is good, imagination is good. Memory goes to the past, imagination goes into the future. But as great as memory and imagination are, sometimes those things they prevent us from being able to capture and enjoy the moment. Because sometimes the memory brings us worry, negative emotions, and things that tie us down. And sometimes our imagination brings us anxiety that it hasn't even happened yet. But we feel that we are nervous, we are frustrated, we are anxious. So it's very important from time to time to capture the moment. Even if it's just looking at a cane leaf or a fig leaf or the drop of rain, something that's going to allow you to get into the moment. So while you listen to the song, know the story of my peace, know the story of our peace, I want you to allow your mind to stay in the moment and let the worries take a break. The song can go on, but for the moment, we just have a few seconds of it. Know the story of my peace. Know the story of your peace. So we're now going to listen to, and what we're going to try to do is every week we will seek to showcase a particular artist and use the different songs from that artist to help us with the message of low stress and high joy. And actually, when you guys get ready to call, it'd be nice for you. We'd like to hear some ideas you have, maybe next week. What artists you think we should feature? An artist you believe that their work contributes towards low stress and high joy, and maybe some song tracks. We have some ideas, but we would like if any of you have ideas later on when we open up the lines or artists you would like us to feature, musical artists. And I would like to feature as much as possible local Dominica artists. Dominica has so much great music. I don't find one reason why I need to play a song from anybody else in the show. I mean, of course, this is an international show, but at least for the first few shows, we want to feature exclusively Dominica music, and we would like to put our artists on stage by just recognizing them for that night. And then we will switch it up because I know our friends in Chicago, in Buffalo, wherever, would like to get on board. I mean, we won't just use only the music from our local artists. But having said that, we're going to segue into a song. We're going to segue into a song Whitey Kubuli, which is number 10 on the soundtrack of Rasmo. Listen to it, and later on we'll have some thoughts about what the song tells us as it relates to the themes of Peaceology, low stress, and high joy. Whitey Kubuli, here by Rasmo.
Land of sunshine, land of rain, a land of joy, a land of pain, land of rivers and fresh fruits free. Why to who lead? Land where Kalinago, Carifuna roams free through mountain, river, valley and sea, hunting, fishing, planting, weaving. Why to who lead? Such a blessed land, virtues abound. Why to land of legend, Jack, Cicero, Bala, Maria, heroes. She was a land of colonialism, a land of absentee, land of majestic maroon chiefs, land of different beliefs, land of the waterfall, land of the boiling lake. When you go away, please return for goodness sake to our white She's a land of independence, land of love and patience. This your land young, strong, moving on. Why too coolly? This is the road. This is the road. Such a blessed land. Virtues abound.
Yes, Whitey Kubuli, Dominica by Rasmo. Later on, we'll come back. We will listen to more songs. We decided that we were going to do 2 shows in a row where we featured the music of Rasmo. And well, I mean, you guys have heard me say this. I mean, it's not just because he's my first cousin, but we had some ideas of working together with some issues that relate to Peaceology. And, Rasmo did a lot of anti violence, non-violence work. And we want to continue some of that work, and others, do similar work as well. But we just thought that we want to feature an artist a week, but we thought that this segment, these two first segments, we wanted to recognize Rasmo's music as part of our beginning. And later on, when we come back, the next song we'll hear from him is Vinny, which is number 11 on the track. We'll hear this. But, before we get into talking about the working definition of Peaceology, to talk about a recap of last week. Patrice, do you mind telling us a little bit about your experiences visiting the Nature Isle for the time that you were there? What stands out on your mind?
Well, I've been to Dominica plenty of times. And I think each time I go, well, obviously I'm a little bit older, and I see and cherish different parts of it. I
Mhm.
think now the thing I cherished the most was the time I spent with my family and
Mhm.
how the island corresponded with it.
Mhm.
So I saw a lot of family that live in various parts of the states or overseas. Sorry, timer. Overseas. So the time that we spent at the falls, or even the long car rides to the airports, we're cracking jokes, or picking fruits together. We made a little moral on the wall of a tree. My cousin helped me with this, and he lived in the Virgin Islands for some time or across the
Mhm.
country. So we got to have these conversations, even if it was simple as the colors that were going on the tree. That was all so important to me, and I think when I was younger, the island just it didn't exactly have a meaning per se because I didn't know how to comprehend it, but now I
Mhm.
correspond it with family and with love and with just a stronger connection than I did before. And I'm really grateful that we had the opportunity to go because, we know how time works. There's not always time. So I'm very grateful.
Yes, Patrice, thank you. And one of the things we'll eventually, I don't know if we'll get to it this show or later on, to really ask people, our vision of creating a world with where people have as many peaceful experiences as possible, and to be able to identify the fact that this concept, this practice and science of Peaceology was birthed in Trafalgar, in the Rosa Valley, in the island of Dominica, and this beautiful nature isle is something that we are celebrating on this show, which is an international show embedded on this island. Even if you are now out of Dominica, I will eventually be, God willing, and to continue this world stage of building Peaceology, the science and practice of low stress and high joy. And we thank so many people that have, over the last close to 3 decades, 1995 next year will be 3 decades since we did started off doing the Grand-based social research project. Was actually we were on the ground in 1996, but we started organizing in 1995. And the various works that different people have engaged with us, whether they are within the police department or whether they are in the community, or those various communities we'll talk about that are in different parts of the world. And we'll have people from different parts of the world who work with us to be able to do that. So the idea of Dominica, the Nature Isle, being the peaceful Nature Isle, and that we believe that is the the central possibility for low stress and high joy. And some of the things we'll be talking about tonight is really about what we witness and experience in Dominica that helps us understand why this island and our people are so conducive to leading the world of low stress and high joy. And there are a lot of people who support us in that regard. And so I'm going to do just a quick shout out before I actually do the the review of last week a bit. We'll do some shout outs. We'll have some commercials that'll come on formally, but right now we just do shout outs to organizations and businesses that have been courteous to us, that give great customer service, and that demonstrate to us low stress and high joy. And the first company I want to talk about tonight is Burton's and Company and L.A. Dupini. Right, they are neighbors. Besides the fact they're neighbors right across the street, but whenever I go in, I see Shirley, I see Olivia, I see Marilyn, Ophelia, Marilyn, Shirley, and others, and the gentleman, the guard, the big strong security guard that's at the front. It's always so courteous. I went down there today. We have companies like Burton and Company and LA Dupini, where I got some fabric from there this afternoon, one section, and go to the hardware store to get some thumbtacks and some other things. And I always enjoy the type of courtesy that I get from LA Dupini and from Burton and Company. I also shop in the different locations. And I know later on you probably will hear a formal commercial from the company, but I just wanted to make that first shout out. Creative Woodworks in Trafalgar, Clem Charles. The type of, we have some furniture that we have in Peaceology Acres. And actually, there are some places that are for 30, 35 years, Clem Charles has made doors and so on that last so long. And, we have those local small businesses and medium-sized businesses and large businesses that are so important to us experiencing low stress and high joy. In fact, sometimes when I enter LA Dupini, it seems like the energy in that store, that's the hardware store where I go, I can feel the friendliness, I can feel the good energy and people coming out. And when you ask for something, for people to walk you over to the shelves with a smile, I really enjoy this. I also get the similar service right across, not right next block, with Garway and Company. Like from the hardware store, from the car place, car part shop, or even from the place where they sell paints and brushes. I like the fact that when we go into to spend our money, we get good customer service from companies that help us make our day better, make our lives a little bit better. So I just wanted to do the shout outs. And as a matter of fact, we're just going to take a little brain break, and it's time we can hear another song. And this song here is from Vinny from Rasmo before we do our recap of last week. Listen to this song and see how it fits into our theme. Vinny by Rasmo, one of the songs on his latest albums.
comme dans le passé, qu'on l'a mis mélangé avec tout ça. Donc l'église l'a sonné en tant que finissant. Dominique, 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 why so foolish? Vini fue, Vini fue, Vini fue, Vini fue.
Song, as we listen to this song, Vini Voix, I'm reminded of yesterday when I dropped off Patrice and 9 other family members to the airport. And I was over in Marigot by last flight. And I decided to wait on the invitation of the owner, Chiki. And I met some other friends there. And I didn't exactly count, but if I said it were move over 100 bikes in the yard, I don't think that would be an exaggeration. And I spoke to a young man from Guadeloupe. I spoke from a young man with another young man from some other country, and I asked about what they were experiencing with the bike tour around the island. And as I'm thinking about this song, and Rasmo is saying, Vini Voix, come see Dominica. I'm remembering some of the words that the young men and women spoke as they were riding across the island on this beautiful day. And kind of interestingly, I saw Greg and his wife in a truck, and some others were with them, and even some people who were not riding bikes were there. And I asked some people in their vehicles and the trucks, why were they in a bike parade? And said, well, in case somebody needs a ride, somebody needs a help. And that was such a good spirit. So later on in my talk, we ask callers to tell us about any experiences they had with the bike show, because we think it was something that contributed to low stress and high joy. I interviewed a few people on the scene to kind of see how they were experiencing this. And whoever it is who organized the bike tour, if you have the opportunity to call in maybe later on and tell us how the idea came about and who helped to organize. I mean, when you have things like that, you have collaboration from the police, you have collaboration from nonprofits, you have collaboration from governmental agents. So I give a big shout out to everybody who organized this bike tour over the weekend. And it seemed that there were no major incidents or any incidents that I kind of knew about. And I like the way that people were regulating themselves. And I say a big shout out to the corporal who was controlling the traffic, and another police officer that was dressed in SSU in camouflage uniform that was so courteous and so in control of this big crowd, just the two of them. But people were regulating themselves, and the police officers were doing a great job while we were trying to have a safe trip across. So that song reminded me, and I remember when Rasmus sings the song Number One, and it takes us across the island. These are the kinds of things we're talking about. When we talk about Peaceology, when we talk about low stress and high joy, we're not talking about something that is so fancy that you have to have a degree to understand. We are talking about the things that we do on a daily basis to regulate ourselves, to live the lives that our grandfathers and grandmothers and great grands and others, and our preachers and our other elders and elders tell us about how to enjoy and live our lives to the fullest while we help our family members, our communities, our great country lead the world, peaceful nature. But Colonel, I know I didn't tell you this part was going to happen, right? But I'm about to do a recap of what we spoke about last week before we talk to you a little more and then open up the lines, right? But last week we asked people, what is peace to them? I will say what people said, but tell us, what is peace to you? To you, what is peace?
To me, peace It's like having peace in your mind to others.
Having peace in what?
Having peace. Like having peace to just like having peace to others, like
Mm. So it's not just you, but with
with
others.
others,
So you're
yes.
not just talking about peace for yourself.
No.
You're talking about peace to you involves other people.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
What are the kinds of things that when you're wrong and if you were to say, man, mommy, I'm feeling really peaceful now. What do you think is most likely present or absent if you say, you know what, I'm feeling peaceful now? What do you think might be around you at that time?
Anger.
What would be around you? No anger, you say? No anger. No anger from you or no anger from other people?
Yeah.
From you or from other people?
From other people.
No anger from other people. You see, that's interesting, right? Very powerful. Like you say, even peace is not just a selfish thing, right? It's not just something only la paper cow and like
No, you share for others.
you share with others. Not like
Yes.
you have a nice piece of bread and butter and you say the corner hiding from your brother and sister. Or manger salad, or pichone. Not like that.
Not
If you
like
are
that.
share, you want to share it.
Yes.
You want people to enjoy the piece too. You give them a little piece of bread, right?
Yes.
If you, of course, I agree with you. So when you're on social media and you have peace, you share the peace too, or
No.
you share the love. By the way, did you share the live tonight? You share the live? No? Was it peace? You share the peace?
Yes. Share the peace.
And I'm just messing with you, but this is Kenel is one of our students in Better Be Better You. Mr. Gary Welch couldn't join us tonight, but whenever we have our Better Be Better You and our youth programs, we always have a lot of fun. And my students in the classroom, my students in the community, they had to put up with me and my corny jokes and stuff like that and putting them on the spot. But that's kind of how they build confidence, right? So Kenel, while I'm going to give a recap, right, on some of the things that people, when we asked them last week, what is peace? What they said, and what we said what peace is, and what we say what we say Peaceology is, right? We're going to add a little more to our knowledge tonight, but I would like you to hear what the people said. Oh, by the way, Colonel, your eyes better than mine. You can read the comments over there. Now, you might be the one to read the comments. I say you just graduated high school. The Minister of Education was there. She did a great speech. There was a local graduate who is a woman architect. I was so proud to see her there. And actually, I spoke to her about potentially doing some work with us at Peaceology Acres. All those great folks there. You had 5 awards. So, gasa usali sausa. Ukopan samo kadina. Ukakopan patwana. Ukapali patwa.
I can understand it, but I cannot speak it.
So, what did I just say? Oh, okay, Ale Lisa. What did I just say?
I think you said, read what I see there. I got 5 awards. I can know. I can read.
Okay, I'll give you a C. Right. I said you're going to read. Yeah. So can you see it well enough to read?
Yeah, I can see
So
it.
tell us, what does the first comment say?
The first comment say, "Good evening, Dr. Peter Sheja, and to all the good Dominica people. Job blessings."
Nice. Well, good though. Thank you. And what's the second one say?
The second one said, "Having peace is having a climbing and joyful spirit that so impacts you to embrace other persons."
Okay.
And someone also said, "Congratulations to Anthony Sanford, who job blessings, no man or woman curse."
No problem. No job, no curse. That's Signal Man. That was a Signal Band fan, man. So, but I saw you move into that song. You can sing that song. I saw you bopping and dancing to that. What was that song? All you're singing for the graduation?
Oh, like with Nice and Shelly.
So
Like the devil setting traps during fall for it.
You can sing that. Let me do something, man. That might be your path to Hollywood. Sing something you can sing.
The devil setting traps.
Uh-huh.
Will you fall for it?
Uh-huh.
The devil setting traps for you. Don't you fall for it? The devil setting traps for you. Don't you fall for it?
That's good enough. That's all you need to know. And the minister and some other people and the principal, I forgot the name, said it is so good for Signal Band is creating music that you can play at a graduation. And you guys had such a nice performance, nice orchestration. And one of the awards you got was School Spirit. Saki-san, what is School Spirit?
A school spirit is like the teachers, the way I move like to them, like they like my moves. Like just say I'll just come and say, "Miss, what's up now? What do you have for me to help you with now?" Like that, and I would tell them, "Miss, I can erase the board for you and thing and check."
So somebody said that Goodell Secondary School is the best high school in Dominica or in the world. Which one?
Well, in Dominica.
You agree with them?
Yes.
Okay. Why you agree?
because in Dominica, GSS is a very good school to attend.
It's a very good school to attend. Yeah. Well, I know, and I know you have own reason for why it's best, and I know if we get some others, they might say so. But your truth is your truth, and I respect your truth. Right. So before we go on and take another break, what we said we were going to do is give you a recap, and again, what we're doing is to prime you to be able to join us in conversation. And kind of as we go on, you'll be the designated reader. You have passed the test. Can you imagine you had a C and you already got a B? Your grade is going up. You're reading that too. And if you can understand some parts, why you might even get a. You're doing really good. You're doing really good, right? And kind of by the way, one of the things that we want that is a call maybe to you or to anybody else. Right now, I mean, I don't know. I hope he doesn't mind that I say Lambi's in the studio on the board helping us. And you guys know me. I sometimes talk more than I need to talk, and sometimes I say more than I need to say. There are good and bad things to that, but the good things that I like transparency. But Lambi volunteered to help us to get started. For me to learn the keyboard and to be the switchboard and to do some of the work. But we really want a young man or a young woman to learn, or a young man and a young woman to be able to be in studio to do what Lambi is doing when we are not there. But we also want the person to have the kind of voice and confidence. I've spoken to some, they said, nah, that's not me and I come in on radio, right? But some people don't mind. Are you comfortable with radio?
Of course, I'm very comfortable and I'm very confident.
You think you can do what Lambi doing there? If we teach you a little bit, you'd like to be behind the console?
Of course, sure. Want to teach me? I can do it.
This guy has confidence. What you want to be when you? I don't say when you grow up because you look like you're tall already. But what you want to do later in life?
Officially, you don't want to agree what I want to be. I want to be a prime minister or a lawyer.
Why wouldn't I want to agree? Why wouldn't I want to agree? Maybe a prime minister. I think it'd be a good.
Like sometimes people do not see it will not be able because in that state in Dominica, not really. It's really tough. Check.
So you want to be a prime minister or lawyer?
Yes.
But you can be both. You can be both.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll support you. In fact, Alvin Anthony already said if you're going to college, he's going to help to continue sponsoring you. And I spoke to him. He's in London now. So Alvin Anthony, thanks in advance. Said Apache money for Cornell. Can I write? You agree?
Yes.
You know what Apache money is?
Yes.
What's that?
It's like Apache money, like a top. Like you just stock it up.
Stack it up. Plenty money.
Yes.
Large access. Yeah, so Alvin Anthony. So okay. You guys, I hope you're not getting tired of our goofiness here, but this is part of what it is. Low stress, high joy, laughter. In fact, before the show, I was talking to someone about laughter. And we were saying that we said laughter is the best medicine. That's just not just talk. Because there are endorphins and there are different types of enzymes and hormones that get activated when we are happy, when we are sad, and so on. So if you really sometimes just want to get someone to be in their best potential mood, one of the things we can do is to activate laughter because it's going to help people. And actually, somebody said to me when I said this before the show, so Doc, you're saying that it's like the medicine that we're taking, the injection that we're taking, we have we don't really need it, as if there's a medicine inside and something like that. And I said, well, we have our own pharmacy within, and not the body produces things to help us heal. And it doesn't mean we do not need external medicine, but actually, if we get rest, if we are very well hydrated, if we have joy in our life, if we have ways that we can chase away some stress, we're going to help our body to repair. And there's something maybe later on we'll talk about REM sleep and NREM, which is non-rapid eye movement sleep and rapid eye movement sleep. And the different sleeps can actually help you to just get a boost, or actually can help you to eject negative things from your mind. Really, if you get 7, 8 or more hours sleep, sometimes you may have some hurt, you have some terrible emotions and things like that. When you sleep, sometimes sleep for a long time, sometimes you just wake up and not like you forgot the pain, but the pain doesn't sting as much. So when you take good care of your body, a lot of great things like that can happen. So in that context, now we ask listeners, what is peace? So Patrice, do you mind giving us a recap from what you recall from our show last week when we asked people, what peace was, and maybe even advanced enough to even tell us what. When I soon say advanced enough, but you could even share stuff. Me having to share what Peaceology is, and I can add if desired. What are your thoughts on that?
So we do have a comment, but I'll get into that because that falls into what you just asked.
Mm-hmm.
But peace, I said peace is the color green.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is, or my response was something that maybe some people haven't heard before. Usually people think of things that they do that brings peace. In this case, we have a comment that says an instrument that can represent peace could be the harp. I
Mm-hmm.
know we said the accordion can represent peace
Mm-hmm.
as for the intro and outro song that we play. But green, to me, represents peace because of nature.
Mm-hmm.
Also just a nostalgic color to me. And another thing someone else mentioned the last show was nostalgia. Often TV shows, smells, foods, that those type of things can bring peace because it makes you feel at home. It makes you feel safe. And once again, that does actually lead to a comment that we have. It said you should always find peace wherever you consider home. But sometimes that's not always the case. To me,
Mm-hmm.
peace is nature and music where I can go by the river and enjoy my thoughts peacefully.
Mm. Nature.
Um,
It's great.
Now, how does this fall into Peaceology? Some may be wondering. Peaceology, in simple terms, is simply low stress, high joy.
Mm-hmm.
Where can you find that, or what place, or what thing, what idea takes you to the mental level where you realize that your stress is lowering and you're becoming more joyful. And
Mm-hmm.
in this case, when I think of the color green, where I wear the color green, where I see the color green,
Mm-hmm.
whether that is symbolic, because green can also represent prosperity,
Mm-hmm.
or whether it's actually literally in front of me. For
Mm-hmm.
example, the coffee leaves on our land, green, that rich green
Mm-hmm.
brought me happiness.
Mm.
So now we can go back to you, and you can give a better in-depth example of what Peaceology is.
Yes, I'm not sure that my contribution will be better, but it'll just be an addition because you have said some things in ways that are better than how I would say it myself. So we said that Peaceology is the science and practice of low stress and high joy, and we said that peace is the maximum presence of the desirable with the minimum presence of the undesirable. In simple words, as Patricia just said, in simple words, it means having most of what you have, even in the presence of having the least of what you don't have. In other words, don't expect to have a perfect problem-free life because you know maybe if you have 1%, 2, 3, 5% of an issue, it's not going to be too much of a big deal, right? To throw you over, right? So don't stress over the small stuff, you know, but see the blessings that are there. There is a simple rule of metaphysics that energy follows attention. Peaceology is built in part on that principle, or that energy follows attention. What does that mean? That if you want some energy around you, just give attention to that. So if you focus on peace and you give attention to peace, even if somebody is being cantankerous towards you and you respond to them peacefully, the energy, the attention that you put towards peacefulness, the attention that you put to someone's beautiful hair, someone's beautiful outfit, someone's beautiful smile, the attention that you give to that will bring energy towards peacefulness, will give energy towards happiness. So you can actually deposit peace to get peace back. Some people want to deposit violence and get back peace. So when we say that Peaceology is the science and practice of low stress and high joy, I will say what does science mean and what does practice mean, and we'll say what is stress and what is joy. But we just wanted to say that peace is having most of what you have, the least of what you don't have. You don't have to get rid of all of the things you don't want. You just have them managed at a level that is not overtaking and stealing away your happiness and your joy and your stability. Right? That's what we say. And people had a lot of contributions, and one of them, two of our callers, I don't necessarily need to call their names, mentioned They want to hear justiceology, right? They want justice, add justice to peace. And I said to them that implicit in peaceology is the notion of justice. The notion of justice is fairness. It is just like baking bread. The most important ingredient for bread, you might say it might be flour, although you can make bread that is not flour, or you might say yeast to let it rise. But when you make the bread, you don't say the bread is yeast or you don't say the bread is flour, right? It is bread. So similarly, when we talk about peaceology and when we talk about peace, justice is a very, very active ingredient. You cannot have bread without flour. You probably cannot have good bread without yeast or something to let it rise. In the same way that you cannot have peace without justice, because justice forms that very active ingredient that allows peace to be able to flourish. But justice is not so much an end of itself as much as peace is an end of itself. Part of why we seek justice is that we want peace. We want that state of existence where the desirable aspects of our life are not overtaken by the undesirable aspects of our life. And justice is a very important glue, a very important transportation system. It's a very important active ingredient for us to be able to recognize that peace. So when we say in Peaceology that we are seeking peace and we're seeking happiness and joy, justice is a very important active ingredient of that. So that is what we broke down. Now, I just want, before we take a break, we hear another song. Actually, we're gonna hear the song for Abel Cado from Rasmo. That's the next song, which is kind of our theme, which is the song that is playing on the theme song. On here's the second song on the album. We will listen to that song. It's like a beautiful gift. We'll hear this next. But before we get into that, and then we talk to Colonel and then open up the lines, I want to add a little bit more to the foundation of Peaceology. We said is the science and practice of low stress and high joy. We said what peace is. Now, when we say something is a science and a practice, what do we mean? But by the way, Colonel, I know you used to me putting you on the spot. So in your mind, what is science? What is science to you? You did science courses, right? What is science to you?
Science is like you have to have technique to have science, to do science, to make sure you can speak, like to just say you have like you want to do like a instrumental, like a go in the lab and do like a nice science, to do like a lab. But science is just like a subject that you can do to create or make a instrument
To make something work. Man, I like that. Science is something you can do to make something work. That's a very good description, right? That's a very Patrice, what is science to you? What's your understanding of science in your own words? Say something is a science.
A science is really just the study of something. There are different types of sciences. There are goodness, my words are so jumbled today. Yes, sciences, but there are also conceptual sciences such as sociology. But then you also have mathematical-based sciences, like astrology or astronomy, and then you have more scientific, meaning biology and chemistry, like the doctors. So I really think the science is really just an in-depth way of saying that you're studying or studying something. Yes.
Very good, very good. And that you guys are right about that, right? As you said, science is a way of getting things done. That's a very Colonel, that's a very good definition, right? And I will tell you, when you say you have something done as a science, and when you say that science is a way of getting things done, what that means in even fancier terms that doctors, scientists like myself say, right?
Yeah.
And when we say that Peaceology is a science and practice of low stress and high joy, sometimes, have you gone to school? By the way, you got one of your awards you got was punctuality, correct?
Yes.
And
regularity.
And regularity. Very good. Right? So sometimes, have you gone to school sometimes and you arrive a little earlier than some other times?
Yes, I do.
Did you ever arrive late?
Nope.
You just arrived earlier.
To me, science is one of my second favorite subject, and I don't want to miss on only reaching late to that subject.
Oh my goodness. You do not want to reach late for science.
No.
So you want to make sure.
I love to see the experience of.
But by the way, tell me, you live in Silver Lake. Well, okay, it's just down the road, but it's not just the road. Are you the only person that ever arrives on time, or do some people arrive school late?
Well, to me, I don't know about them, but I know about myself. To
There we
me, I
go.
always determine like I would never want to reach school late. I never.
Wow, can you imagine that? So, and you don't want your second subject, you don't want to miss out on science. You go in there.
Not on science only, but none of my subjects.
None of us, but you're saying that science was early. Like if you miss, you might miss science, right?
Yes.
No, to miss any subject. Now listen to this. Let's say you want to go. What time school starts?
School starts at 12:50.
12:50, right? So let us say school starts at 12:50. You want to arrive usually about 12:30, 12:40?
Yes, around 12:40.
12:40. And sometimes you arrive at 12:35, right?
Yes.
Wouldn't you like to arrive at 12:30 every day? Wouldn't that be great?
Yes, it will be very great.
So now we can create a science where you can arrive to school at 12:30 every day. Because one of the things in science is something that we call reliability. Like if you have a car, you want to drive the car, and you want to go to school every day with your car, or work every day. That's reliability. Yes. And reliability means that somebody else can do the same thing and get the same results over and over again. And there's something called validity. And validity means to measure exactly what you set out to measure. So say somebody said to you, what's your age? Or someone said, okay, let's say how much money do you make? And you said $10,000. But it might be $10,000 a week, or $10,000 a month, or $10,000 a year. You see, that's not reliable. It's not valid to just say, well, how much money do you make? We need to say how much money do you make a certain period of time. You understand? Yeah. So in science, we have language, we have theories that are about ideas that came before us that we want to change. We have methods, which are the way we do things, right? And we have implications, which are what we do with the things we have. For us in science, it's not important enough to have an idea and talk about the idea. You have to do things the right way. You don't just have to win, but you have to win by the rules. And even if you have an idea you want to investigate and you have the results of the idea, you want to be able to not only measure it right so other people can measure and get the same results that you did, reliability, but you want the world to be able to do something with the knowledge that you got.
Yes.
So there are implications for the knowledge, which means that somebody else can be impacted, other things can be impacted, ideas can be impacted, the way you do the research, policy can be impacted, like you like to be a future lawyer, work a lot of policy, and programs. That means you want to help to make the world a better place. So when we say that Peaceology is a science, we mean that it is something that has a systematic or a predictable way of doing things that other people can do it and get a similar result. So if we are saying low stress and high joy in Dominica, and we're doing things and somebody cannot do it in Switzerland, that's not very scientific. It's not reliable to us. We want to do things that when we do it, it will make meaning for other people. We want to measure what we set out to measure, and we want our impact to help make the world a better place. So that's what we mean when we say it's a science. And when we say it's a practice, it is not, there are three basic types of sciences, right? There's one that's basic science, you just do science just to do science. And there's kind of public science, where you do science because somebody else tells you to do this, right? And there are other science that you do to test theories. But for us, when we say it's a practice, that means we have to live the life of low stress and high joy. Not only we have to just talk about it and think about it, but we have to help other people live lives of low stress and high joy. So when we say that is what it is, the science and practice. Later on, we'll talk about what is stress and what is joy. We're not going to go into that now. But apres nous ka écouter un bel cadeau. We're going to listen to a song by Rasmo. That's a beautiful gift. Now listen to the lyrics of the song and allow your imagination to go. Let the worries get out of your mind and accept from Rasmo this beautiful gift, number 2 on the soundtrack. Bel cadeau by Rasmo.
I'm going to Africa. See what I find out here. I will bring a gift for you. I will bring a gift for you. I will bring a talking drum. I will bring a Juliet drum. I will bring a Jun drum. I will bring a Starbucks drum. For you, for you, for you, for you, for you. I will bring a drum for you. For you, for you, for you, for you, for you. I will bring a drum for you. For you, for you, for you, for you, for you. I will bring a drum for you. For you, for you, for you, for you, for you. I will bring a drum for you.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, Patrice, take us into the next segment.
It's the top of the hour. We have about an hour left of our show. We would like to do a brief mention of a sponsor, then move on to speak with our guest.
Yes, and we recognize Fitz Peterson, Fitz Peter Nicholas of Trafalgar that's building his retreat. First paid sponsor who is looking to develop someplace in Magogo, but just supporting a program, a local program that he believes in. Papiat Wilderness Retreat in Trafalgar, Cuthbert and Anne. Oh my goodness, 50, how many years with each other, decades and decades of time. We can't say enough about Papiat right there in Trafalgar, the history that it has, and the greatness that Cuthbert and Anne have given in their quest to help uplift our community, to help promote Peaceful Nature Isle, and to also employ so many people. Cuthbert has always has a funny horn on his vehicle from the time he had a Volkswagen Bug. I don't know if you guys remember up to now when he drives his great truck, and he's in fact, I asked Cuthbert, what is the recipe that he and Anne seem so happy for so long, and he said to just laugh a lot. And if you guys know Cuthbert's laugh is really contagious, right, Lambi? He's a very, very, very contagious laugh. And right down the street from Cuthbert is Gregor Nassif. Gregor lives, and Gregor Nassif, Gregor is an owner of one of the owners and the owner of many great Fort Young, Secret Bay. But Gregor is just a good neighbor to us. In fact, Gregor was driving out down Summit right at Irma's shop right there in Trafalgar. And Gregor said, Keith, I heard, Fred Kite is coming and you guys are doing some music, let me know. He just volunteered to sponsor. He actually sponsored for us to practice the first time we put our band together because he drives by us at the water bar. So we give that commercial shout out there to Gregor Nassif and everything that he leads. And right down from him, River Rock, Peanuts, right there. Great food, great water, looking over there. And then down the street, we have Water Bar, busy on Sunday nights, busiest night, but other nights that you can go. Heck, he has been able to provide local support for anybody can go and enjoy, but local people feel very, very comfortable there at Water Bar. And the place is rightfully named. And if you ever want water, whether you run out of water or just want to continue, right there at Mayfield by Peanuts, right there by, you can get drinking water. I have people that come from overseas, we just drink the water straight off and no problem, never have any kind of problems with that. A great community business. And down the street, as we go further down, we have Natty's Tropical Valley on the way to Watton right there. Last week we gave a shout out to all of the spas in Watton Waven. And we go down, we have Sandrine at Brunch and Munch right there on the hill. And we have Irma's nice place where she can get big. Patrice, I think you like you used to like the cheese, not so much, but you like what do you like? What's your favorite thing from Irma's bar, or your cousin's bar, Patrice?
The bakes. I love the bakes.
Bakes on what?
Saltfish, yes.
Yeah, in fact, whenever you go to buy bakes and saltfish by Irma, make sure Keith got his own already. Make sure I got mine. Okay, so don't take the last one. Leave the last one for me. And then we continue down. And actually, Maureen right next door too also does hair. Maureen had a business downtown. So if you want a great hair too, check out Maureen Sunshine right there in Trafalgar. And right next to Irma, they're actually sisters. And we go down like M&G's Merle's place. We get nice pastries. Actually, Franz, you guys may have heard about Franz, her husband, Mr. George Have was one of the bakers there for Franz. So I'm still waiting, Merle, I'm still waiting for my fruitcake, huh? I love to get that fruit, whatever Merle makes fruitcake. So before you go there, it has free fruitcake, only buy two, okay? If I haven't gotten one, make sure you leave one there. And they make great pastries and so on. And right next door, we have Bernard's shop with Talisha and others there providing groceries to the community, and Ivo shop right there. We have more as we'll give some more shout outs, but and you guys may say I'm talking a lot about Trafalgar, but this is where Peaceology was born. This is the base of our people. And when we sell something good, we should first sell it within our family because we'll not feed our family poison. And if it's good enough for our family, we should be able to help and share it to the world. So I just wanted to make sure I gave this shout out there to those there. And just before we go into the song, I already mentioned Elliot Jupini, and also I want to thank Rasmo Music and Rasmo's family for the music that we've been able to use. The Sign Man, the Sign Man, you guys hear his name a lot, the Sign Man, the name of not his name, but the company. That does a lot of great sign. The gentleman provides great customer service. I met him in Tong recently and said I was going to do a commercial shout out and thank him for being a good business that sponsors a lot, but also does good work. And the Red Cross, we already spoke about the Red Cross last week. We spoke about Bunch and Munch. And the Cassava Man. You guys know the Cassava Man that's in the market, man. This guy, whenever I have people who visit Dominica, especially returning Dominicans that come and have some cassava, whether you get the one that has raisins or you get the one that coconut or you just get it plain or you get a wrap from there are people that are feeling that they're getting something authentic. My granduncle Harold in Trafalgar made cassava. He was called the Cassava Man up there as well. And we had family members that came. And, these are the kinds of things. Say, PTBT Kikafeu Eme Dominic. So I want us to support those local businesses. Clean your hair, take care of your children, as Chubby said in one of the songs. if you are a person of whatever, you should be taking care of your children. We should be taking care of our people. We should be taking care of our community. We should be embracing our small businesses as we build peaceful nature isle. And we'll keep coming down, right? We'll keep coming down the hill, the Monwood Field and so on, and we'll keep expanding. But we wanted to, first of all, give that kind of commercial shout out to those that we just mentioned. Now, let us get ready to hear from, as we're coming down, and maybe he wants to give a shout out to his community business. If you have a place you like or any company that you like, you can feel free to give them a shout out. I know if you want something in Silver Lake, there are people there. I know your auntie is an awesome person there.
Of
like
course. And
stuff.
also we have the Mom's Bar, the Mom's Place Bar, where my Johnny upstairs by the roadside.
Right,
You can get
right.
no, you can get your steamed fish, you can get your big and sausage, big and cheese, big and tuna.
So, Colonel, when you become the co-host, you have to sell commercials, And
Yeah.
Patricia, you'll be able to teach Colonel how to have a good script of how to approach people, because Colonel, work is so important, right? When we put people to work or when we sell things, we have to have a science to it, right? Remember, the science is a way of getting things done and getting them done well almost every time. Okay,
Yeah.
so if we ask you to go sell a commercial and you have you get some commission to yourself to help you with your school, we expect you to present yourself in a certain way, get ready, all of
Yeah.
those things are not just about money, it's about preparing us to do better in life, right? So I'm
Yes.
so glad that you're willing to be part of our show in that manner. So tell us a little more about your community. We spoke about those awards and all that, but if someone doesn't know you at all, who would you tell them you are?
Well, I'm a generous person, I'm a kind and loving person.
You're generous, you're kind and loving. How did you get to be that way?
Well, my mother taught me that way. She made me grow up that way, and I taught myself that way.
Your mother, tell us about your mom.
My mom is a very helpful and struggling person. And my mother's name is Julia Bello.
Julia Bello. Is there a way, is everybody know her by that name?
Well, some people just call her Janet.
Okay. And so she sometimes, I don't know if you guys still do that. You guys sold some things somewhere in Roseau. I don't know if you guys still do that.
Yes, like Kenip.
But what about books?
Yes, she do.
She still sells
Yes,
books?
she still sells
Do
books.
you is that
But
after you read the book she sells them, or do you read the book she sells?
Yes,
The easy one or the hard one?
both.
Okay. All right. So tell us more. So how did you live in Silver Lake? People say all kinds of things of Silver Lake, the good, the bad, the ugly. So what it is like for you as a young person growing up in Silver Lake, having gone to high school, finished high school, head into college, and doing so well? Explain to us how that happens.
How that happens?
Wow.
That happens by me. First of all, like never giving up.
Mm.
Whenever you are living in a community and there's bad influence and such, you just step aside and say, like for me, there are very bad influence and bad jealousy people in Silver Lake. But to me, I would just forgive them and just tell myself that is them. But me, I would never give up.
Hmm. So what I'm hearing you say, the same way like you said before, that peace also relates to somebody else. You are in a community where there are other people, but that doesn't prevent you from understanding who you are and
Yes.
managing yourself. Did I understand it
Yes.
correctly? So where did you get that? Where did you get that idea from? Like how are you able to do this?
Which idea?
The idea that you're going to stay focused and you're going to forgive people that seem that they are against you, that if somebody is being a way that you don't like, you're not going to make a big deal about it to them. That's what I'm understanding, that you're going to forgive them and understand, but you're still going to push forward. How did you get to be that type of person?
Well, some people will not be that type of person I'm becoming, but still I'm not becoming, that person I'm still am. But to me, that I am that type of person that anyone can be around.
Mm. So what type of lessons you get from your mother or whoever else in your life? Well, your father's situation, I mean, it's no, you say your mother a lot, but you have mentioned your father. Why?
My father is dead.
Yes, we know that there was an unfortunate situation where your father lost. You were at age 5 at the time.
Yeah,
So yeah, yeah. So, but you've been building your life, right?
yeah, and I didn't succeed.
And you have been trying to succeed in a way. So, what are some of the guidelines or things your mother, your sisters, or brother tell you, or other people tell you, other people in your life tell you that help you stay so focused?
Well, that very smart, intelligent young boy. Keep on doing what you have been doing. Never give up. Prove
Mm,
them wrong.
wow. You know, Kada, what I never went to high school, right? So you accomplished something that I have not accomplished, right? Which I didn't even begin high school. I didn't pass common entrance. I tried again, and they said my father told me that my handwriting was too poor. So there were other people who could write better than me, according to the story that I got. But I ended up at age 13 going to technical college, and I did Clifton, Clifton Diplom Technical College. I did auto mechanics, and then continued on to develop. But one of the things that happened, just something that you just said, because one time somebody said something to me that said, like, of all people in this village, or all people in Dominica, how comes you are the one that end up being able to get the land? You can have purchased 17.998, 18 acres of land in Trafalgar, Peaceology acres. By the way, you and your family, hopefully, welcome to visit, as I've always said. How is you that end up getting that? That's what the person said to me. And I had to really, I didn't get angry at the person, but I had to think about it. And I remember so many elderly women and men told me that I was a bright young person that had a good future ahead. And even when I didn't pass common entrance and I didn't make it, my father was a Bido Catholic, as we say. He could have gotten me a seat, he said, at St. Mary's Academy because he knew brothers there and so on. At the time, I didn't want a handout. So I ended
Yeah.
up going to go into technical college and later on. But what you just said is part of my story, that a lot of older people and even young people my age told me that I was doing things good. But you know what was the most important part of this? I believed them. Because there are a lot of people you tell that they are good, but somehow they don't believe that they are good. But I believe that even if, like so many people told me, you're a child of God, God bless you, but they keep being you. People like my Teresa still tell me, like a lot of elderly people still give me blessings, blessing, blessing, blessing. And I just started to believe that they say I have something good, great to do. I didn't know what that was, and I just kept believing them. Even before the show, I was telling Lambi that I don't know where the show is really going to go. I'm kind of on remote control. I'm just being obedient. I didn't plan. We didn't plan for the show before I came down here. Like a month ago, this wasn't really planned. You understand?
Yeah.
So we're just being obedient to the creator and doing those things. So I'm glad to hear you say that a lot of people poured love and support into you, and you believed what they say, and regardless of what's going on around you, you are staying focused. That is really, really a good message. So what do you have to say to some of the other young people that are growing up in Silver Lake? Because you seem that you're not a person that's going to judge people and put people down.
No,
It
I'm not.
seems, so what type of encouragement or what advice you have for young people who maybe feeling that they want to drop out of high school, they think they cannot do it, they think they will never end up college. What kind of advice do you have for them?
The advice I will give them: first one, never give up. Always keep on trying. Whenever you say you cannot, just say you can.
Just keep saying I can. So just shorten that word cannot, take that part out of it, and to be able to say that you can. Patrice, what are your thoughts about what Colonel has shared with us before we open up the line and have others a comment? And what are some of your thoughts from what he has shared with us so far?
The first thing I thought about was this quote that I heard a few years ago. And I believe it was something like motivation for me is them telling me who I couldn't be. And that kind of reminded me of what you were saying. People are saying, oh, you can't do this or you shouldn't do this. But you're saying, well, I'm actually going to use that as motivation to do it because I know I can do it. And I believe I have that mentality sometimes as well. But something that I learned recently was imposter syndrome. And I think this is something that more people feel like they suffer or they don't realize that they suffer from it or that they may be dealing with that. And that is simply just the feeling of believing that you're not supposed to be somewhere where you do deserve to be. And in this case, you were talking about education. Some kids may think, oh, well, I won't graduate. Since I'm not good in high school, I won't be able to go to college. And I feel like this is some form of imposter syndrome. But that is what I thought about. And actually, I learned about this in school. And imposter syndrome is actually something that many people who are well educated or who are constantly succeeding in life, they feel like, oh, I keep on succeeding, I can't fail, and they somehow opt themselves out of the opportunities that they have. And that's something interesting. I think that everyone should learn more about imposter syndrome because it goes into so many different alleys and segues into your life, and it's just really insightful.
Mm. So, but just tell us a little bit about your own journey. I mean, you are hearing me, your dad, talk about not having gone to high school. I don't think not going to high school was probably ever something that is a part of your equation. But you also in a different context where your social structure, your community areas, and so on may be different than Colonel's. And you heard what he said about what caused him to succeed in the environment that he succeeded. Some of the things that he said, do some of these things relate to you, even if your environment may have been different than his?
Yes, yes, I definitely do relate. Something
Mm,
I did tell myself was just to keep on doing it.
mm,
I always just try my hardest.
mhm,
That's how I know that I will be satisfied with myself. And the
mm,
times where I don't try my hardest, that's when I find dissatisfaction. And really, another thing too, I would like for everyone to consider is how do you relate with competition,
mm,
and where does that stem from? Because this
mm,
is something that I've recently had to ask myself, now about to go into my second year of school. And also just going back a year when I was in high school applying to schools, I will admit I limited myself to some degree because I didn't ask myself what was my relationship with competition. And I think
mm,
when you have this conversation with yourself, or if you write it down on paper or with someone else, you can you can notice your strengths and maybe some things that you can work on yourself so that you can fully see your full potential.
mm,
Um, and that's what it's been like for me. When you work hard, you eventually see the things that you're great at and the things that you can become even better at, or there are new hobbies as you go along the way that you may learn, different crafts. And I mean, I think radio is a great example.
mhm,
I did broadcasting eighth grade. It was just a simple camera. I like to tell this to whoever asks, like a little camera on top of a stack of books, and it was just me and maybe eight other eighth graders who just signed up to do it in my middle school. And we just
mhm,
made little corny videos talking about, oh, there's a basketball game here or on this day.
mm,
And then when I got to high school, they told me that there's an actual broadcasting class. Never
mm,
would I have thought as a freshman who only thought broadcasting was just TV. Broadcasting is much more than that. Journalism is much
mm,
more than just writing articles or telling the news. I would have
mhm,
never thought as a freshman at 14 years old that I would, by the time I was 17 years old, be the manager of a radio show and
mhm,
the manager of a whole entire radio station that could be heard within several miles, spanning. I believe also it was the biggest high school radio station in the country.
mm,
So that mindset that I had when I was a freshman, I don't know if I could. It was very harmful. But as I continued to push myself, like I was saying earlier, just do the best that I
mm,
could, I realized that there were other things that I was great at doing. I knew I was a good speaker. And as I
mm,
kept on like practicing my speaking and broadcasting, we did the broadcast or specifically radio segment or section of the
mhm,
class. I realized, wait, I'm good at speaking. I tried my hardest in the radio segment of the class. Oh, wait, I'm good at radio. And so
mm,
that's just an example that I'm trying to tell you all that when you continuously try to do your best, more
mhm,
opportunities will come your way. People
mm,
will see who you are. People will see what you're doing. And some people may not like it. That's not your fault. You know, not everyone's going to like everything that you do and not everything is going to dislike what you do, but just keep on being yourself. Keep on advocating for yourself. But
Yes,
also,
yes. Go ahead.
I would also say, be honest with yourself. If there are doubtful moments, it's okay to address it. Just address it with yourself and see what it is. Don't let it I would say completely take will or take the wheel in where you're going. And I know that can be, a back and forth, kind of like a seesaw, but it's a journey, honestly.
Yes, yes, and Patrice, what you just shared. In a moment, I'm going to ask Colonel to tell us what did he get from what Patrice shared. Two young people sharing ideas. Does how do you relate to what she just said? And I want to remind us too. Well, not remind us. I'm kind of saying it for the first time. But when we come back, when we take a break later on, we'll be playing number 13 from Rasmus' song Ola Nuye. The song asks, where are we and where are we going? It's very important that we have a good sense of self. It's very important that we have a good sense of direction. It's good, very important for us to know who we are and know where we're headed. And this is one of the fundamental things I kind of hear from both you and Colonel talking about those things. But before Colonel tells us kind of what he got from what you said and how it relates to him and as he plans his future, because you are now a college student, so big about to begin your sophomore year, and Colonel is about to be his first, his as a freshman incoming this year. So you guys are not very far apart from each other. But Patrice, you had one. I seem to get it right, some wrong sometimes, a national award, like not just an award in our area, but across the entire United States. You had won some sort of journalism or broadcasting award. What was that?
That's very funny that you say this because I do forget the actual title
Mm,
of the award, but it was actually a last minute interview. And this is what I'm saying: when you
mm,
trust in yourself, when you try your best, you may never know where it'll take you. All I know is that the teacher said, Patrice, your radio, do this category, do radio category for this national awards. And I did it. I was unsure because I knew that literally hundreds of other kids across the entire country try, I don't want to say try out, but they submit things. But
mhm,
I was able to anchor down one of the best protesters and social advocates
mm,
students at my school. We sat down, we had a conversation, not even 10 minutes, one take, some very good questions.
mhm.
And I sent it off. A few weeks later, I found out that I got first place and a $100 award um, for, I guess, best radio segment.
Yeah.
And
Mm,
I was shocked. But I
mm.
think that's once again a great story to show that when you believe in yourself, when you put in your best effort, there are endless possibilities.
Yes, absolutely. Before we get into the next song, and callers, feel free to call in if any questions or comments. And those of you who were part of the bike tour, going across beautiful, peaceful nature isle over the weekend, call in if any experiences you had. Did you experience low stress and high joy during this bike tour? If so, how? And anything else you want to ask or talk about, you can call in anytime you call in. We will cut ourselves out and take your call because you've been so patient here with us. But as we await some calls and as we speak some more, can you tell me? And just to remind you, for those who want to call the big station, you can call local number here, which is on air 449-3095. The overseas line is 305-432-9624. Or you could also go on air on a local on 44 at 449-3096, 449-3097, and you could also use 616-4257. I'll say again, if you want to call locally, 449-3095, 449-3096, 449-3097, 616-4257, and our overseas line is 305-432-9624. And we are live also on Facebook for those of you who want to leave comments. Soon we'll have our own social media platform, but it's coming down the road. But go ahead and leave some comments or call in at any one of those numbers. Looking forward to talk to you. So Colonel, what comes to mind as you prepare yourself to go to college and hearing Patricia's story? What part of her story kind of stands out to you?
It stands out to me that it really stands out to me that she gets a great award. Like like she like not motivating like I want to be like her, but I want to do like how I do in high school. I want to do just like how I do in college.
You want the success you had in high school to carry on in
college.
In college. And you know, that's why we're talking about science, right? Because science gives us a method, gives us ideas, and gives us ways of doing things that can help us to reproduce our success. So when we talk about in Peaceology, we say it's a science and practice of low stress and high joy. We don't only want to get low stress one time. We don't only want to get high joy one time. We want to be able to reproduce our successes over extended periods of time, right? So that is something that stands out, that is very important as we talk about Peaceology, the science and practice of low stress and high joy, as we're talking about peace being the maximum present of the things that we want, or the maximum presence of the desirable with the minimum presence there of the undesirable. Having most of what you want while having the least of what you don't want in that regard. And again, we our phone lines, our numbers are 449 3095, 449 3096, 449 3097. And I think we have a caller. Caller, welcome. Thank you for calling tonight.
Okay, good night, Mr. Sergeant, and your guest. I want to ask you a question.
Yes, Elvis.
Don't you believe in your last days at school in Trafalgar?
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think that the teacher at the time, the principal at the time, had a great role in playing in building your confidence so that you could get where you are today?
Yes. In fact,
Jerome Joseph.
Yes, I will say Jerome Joseph, but he was not really my last one, actually. He may have been your last one because you and Marilyn were a little bit ahead of me. My last one was actually Lambert Telemac from Point Michel. And I met Mr. Ansem, and Mr. Ansem's wife was just before Lambert Telemac. She had a Brong Fort Grenada or something like that. This lady was so nice to us. And there were others like Kinad Lifam and so on before that time. But I think to me the most impression, Miss Bernice was my kindergarten, like my form fifth grade, whatever after kindergarten, whatever the first little person class was. That Miss Bernice Joseph, Henry George's wife, was my first teacher. That I remember. I still have problems with penmanship, and she writes so neatly. She writes like you should just preserve her handwriting, So Miss Bernice has always, even now, Miss Bernice is so kind and gentle with me, kind and gentle with us. So Miss Bernice, I felt love in Miss Bernice's class. And there were some other people who came in. Miss Jennifer Karam would come in as sometimes be teachers. But Miss Nafali and Miss Jinjin, right? Joseph, right? Eugenia and Miss Nato and Miss Jinjin were like, none of them were easy, and Miss Jinjin was probably harder than Miss Nato in terms of the fact that sometimes she rough us up a little more, and Miss Nafali was more gentle, but she was firm. But both of them were very good teachers, and they would break down things, and both of them were very patient. I would have questions beyond. In fact, I never ended up going to standard 3, I think we call it. I ended up staying in standard 1, and I was, Mr. Telemac was having some challenges, and I actually would teach standard 3 work while I was in standard 1. So I never really formally went to standard 2 and 3 because I knew standard 3 work in standard 1 for some reason. So Mr. Lambert, at those days, they would have the children help the teachers, and you can give lessons, and I liked to do that, and I was going ahead. So, but I think with Jerome Joseph was influential, but he was a little bit ahead. He was, I was when Mr. Joseph was teaching, Colin Telemac was actually my teacher at that time, and he was your teacher at that time. But Colin Telemack, who was the police officer and right next to Richard, was my teacher at that level. And Mr. Colin Telemack had also a very good influence. But the love that I got from those teachers and the confidence they put in me, Miss Nafoli and Miss Ginger would always ask me to volunteer to lead groups. Your brother Ayub and I would oftentimes be president or vice president, and Miss Ginger and Miss Nafoli sometimes would be the one deliberating over the elections and so on. And they always encourage me and tell me that I was a good leader, that I was a good person, and those types of things. So Elvis, thanks for bringing back those memories. But how did Elvis? It sounds to me, did Mr. Jerem Joseph, what influence did he have on you? Because you're a successful businessman, and I give a plug to your business as well. Mm-hmm.
Well, for me, the person I become and everything about me is because of Jerem Joseph. Jerem Joseph came in and he basically opened me up. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And give me the confidence that today I could be where I am. Before that, like I would be in school and I would get no attention from teachers and so on. But when he came, that quiet boy, he actually opened me up. And he made me head boy of the class. I could not understand why he made me head boy. I knew I was smart. I was very smart. I knew I was one of the brain box when it comes for mathematics. But he used some kind of psychology to make me build up my confidence. He made me the head boy of the school of the school, and that just built up my confidence. And I can remember just at the time when I had to leave school. It's not like today. When you're 15, you have to go. He actually came at my mother's home and he said, you know what, send that boy and learn a trade. He'll do very well.
Wow.
You understand? And then I started doing mechanics and I go in the welding and look at where I am today.
So Elvis, I know you probably don't like bragging about yourself. You don't want to, you didn't call for that. But tell the people, tell us a little bit about your business, like how you started, how you get there, and the volume of work you do. Because I don't know anybody else that does the kind of level of quality work you do on the nation. Tell the public some more about what you do.
Well, what I do, I do blacksmithing. Which that is something nobody do in Dominica. I'm the only person that actually who in fire and ship metal out of fire. I do all type of welding. MIG welding, TIG, oxyacetylene, soldering. Yeah. But I'm a well-versatile person because I also do electrical. I wire my home. I do carpentry. I do masons. It's like I just open to do anything. Anything. It's like for me, this type of work is like, to me, nothing not hard to do.
So you did you learn that by Loverty? Is that the name of the man you learned that from? Mr. Loverty or somewhere else?
The truth is, nobody ever taught me to weld.
Oh, yes. But did you work with him at some point, or with Stafford or somebody that helped you?
Well, when I was young, at 14, 15 years, Stafford had a small wood shop in Trafford. When you go to work, I just take welding plan and I start welding for him. Yeah, I watch him. I kind of understand what it was to do welding, and I started welding.
Elvis, thank you so much for sharing your story, because one of the things, similar to what Colonel is saying, similar to what Patrice is saying, is that sometimes other people see in us things we do not see in ourselves. And if you see in a young child, in an adult, in an elder, something that is great, please tell them, because you may be the big influence in allowing them to live to their fullest potential, especially when we invest into the young people. Mr. Burton was telling me this. When we invest into young people, it is the greatest return that we can get, because they'll most likely live longer than those of us who are elder. So, Elvis, thanks a lot for sharing your story. And other guys like La Rock, and I know that Kevin also does that type of, does the type of welding, but not everybody does the same thing. But I'm glad, I know that the type of work you do has been on a very, very high level with the bridges and some of the big jobs you do.
Even today, like I have my degree in welding, I have my certificate. I'm a certified welder. I did after school, after I left school. You have to be smart. I went to live in town just to go back to school. I felt it would not have worked in Trafalgar. So I lived 7 years in Goodwill. And I used the 7 years to educate myself. Yeah.
Yeah, and somebody I would like to interview on hopefully he can either call like you called in or like to interview in studio is Glenford Charles. Glenford Charles is a very, very high. I mean, the Glenford, if I may say that, is kind of an equivalent to you in terms of you guys and Clem Charles. You guys are like on the top of your game in your field,
Yeah.
And it'd be nice to know how Glenford and I sat next to each other in elementary school. But how we need to learn the story. We know a lot about how we fail, but we need to know more about how we succeed. And we need to have some of those voices like we're not hearing in those words. So Glenford, sometime I hope you can join us in studio and share the story of your success. I know he has been to Barbados and Trinidad, a bunch of different countries, and maybe some of the most sensitive air conditioning and refrigeration contracts on the island. Among those, he is the top, from my accounts, or one of the top in that field. So Elvis, thanks again for calling and sharing your story, man. That really is enlightening to us. So right. So Patrice, you get to hear a little bit more. One of the things that I enjoy in this show is I get to spend this quality time with you, but you also get to learn about your nation, our nation. In fact, one of the things that I'm hoping when Elvis's brother, Stafford Moranci and Sons, and his son Clifford, I actually would like to have Stafford and Clifford sometime in the studio to talk about intergenerational success. A lot of times we have businesses and we do not prepare for the future with others. And I would like Stafford and Clifford to come in here and because I like the way that Clifford has been fading into the business. I like to see Stafford doing his garden and relaxing himself. I saw Stafford playing domino last night by Waterbar. I was so happy to see that, But we need to share those types of stories because we cannot work till the end of our lives. And we need to prepare young people, you know?
And the young people in the village, they need to know, and it's important because they need to know, they see a story and they think like, wait, Morancis, they born rich, but they need to know the struggle and how rich here we are. So that will help them, that will encourage them.
Yes. And that's a good way to segue into our next song. Thanks again, Elvis, for calling. Ola Nuye. Ola Nuka Ale. Song number 13 on the Kado Bel Kado album, the Creole Kado from Rasmo. Ola Nule. Ola Nuka Ale.
Awe moun nou prepawe, bon pa ou nou kay pale, se forsa tout écouter, bagay la sa bien sérieux, fami an tan pou koze, yo ni check sen pou mate, ki sa yo mate. Ola nou ye, ki sa yo mate, ola nou kare. Ola nou ye, isa yo mare, ola nou kare. Pani la wana la lin, kache jwe ma bal ankor. Piyo po, se jwe, konsa ka mor. Gade letan pa prive, sal volan pa ka vole. Si boy pa ka jwe topi, se bon bagay ka fini. Toi diksyon nan ni vale, pou chen le moun nou souffert. Pou plisien ane. Ola nou ye, isa yo mare, ola nou kare. Ola nou ye, isa yo mare, ola no care. Les guamons yo perd ouest, jeunesse tout est mal cassé, la mort est mal élevée. Pourquoi yo mal habillé? Pour la paix dont choisir, nous pas perdre dignité, relever l'amour et puis respect. Oh la nouye, qui ça yo maé? Oh la nou carré. Oh la nouye, qui ça yo maé? Oh la nou carré. Est-ce que vous avez changé de main? Qu'il y a main à main, haï et violence, voyez yo à sous vacances. Tant pour ende yon et l'autre, c'est ça qui a fait sorte. On fait la paix vide, coalition nous célébrer. Oh la nouye, qui ça yo maé? Oh la nou carré. Oh la nouye, qui ça yo maé? Oh la nou carré. Oh la nouye. Oh la nou carré. Oh la nouye.
Ola Nuye, Ola Noka Ale.
Well, we have 15 minutes left of our show. We will talk a bit about the bike show and then close off with our song on the accordion.
Yes, yes, yes. Colonel, by the way, did you understand what did you understand from what the song was saying?
I don't really understand nothing.
Yes, but you were singing Ola. So Ola New Year means Ola means where. New Year means are we.
Are we?
Where are we? So where are we? Ola Nuka Ale. Where are we and where are we going? You know?
Yeah.
So it fits exactly with what, similarly to what you were saying and what Patrice is saying and what I said, you know, like where am I now? Where am I going to be in the future? You know, what plans am I going to set for myself? And it fits with science too, right? Because science helps us to be able to get things done in ways that are clear, in ways that are transparent, in ways that are reliable, that can last over some periods of time. So again, if anybody who participated or saw the bike show over the weekend, let us know. I know for sure. You can call in and let us know your experience. I was in Marigot again today, and I stopped over at Last Flight, and the owner and I were talking about people who thought that the 1 hour or just close to an hour that they spent there was a very good time, but they wanted to have some more time at Last Flight. I know that the bike, when he spoke to Timmy, I think it was, who said that the guys will be in Cassie Bruce this Sunday, and I'm not sure what's happening the following Sunday, but it seems that from what the owner was telling me, a lot of people by popular demand were asking to have a similar kind of stop over for a few hours, 4 hours or more over there at Last Flight. Chiki describes this place as the only business that has a plane in its yard. Kasa Oblaje, Kasa Utoblaje, Kasa Chiki, the only place with a plane in its yard. But it's true, it's true, it's true. So 449 3095, 449 3096, 449 3097, 616 4257. These are our local lines, and for overseas lines, those of you who want to call from overseas, free of charge to yourself, a WhatsApp number. It's 305, or maybe it not be WhatsApp, it may be something else, but 305 432 9624. Again, 305 432 9624. Maybe we can take one or two quick calls as we wind up the show. And as we talk about, I can say what I saw with the bike show, because we said we would talk about that. I'm looking at some of the pics now and looking at some of the videos from the scene. But if we have someone who calls in and want to talk about this, we'll be happy to see. By the way, Carol, did you see any of the bike show, the bikes pass yesterday or so from up Silver Lake? Or have you seen motorcycles, fellas, wheeling on bikes? Good.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know how to ride a bike?
I do want to ride a bike.
You don't want to ride it? Why not?
It's too dangerous.
It's too dangerous for you. Well, not everything is for everybody, right? Do you want to ride behind one while somebody else wheeling it?
No.
You know, I was riding today. I was driving today on the water on the bayfront. Well, not the bayfront, and close to where at the Deepwater Harbor area there, and on the way to Fokole and Pottersville, little stretch there. And there was a guy wheeling a bike, and there was a lady in front. So a guy, he's in the back, and a woman in the back, and the front of the bike was in the air. I mean, it was impressive. I'm glad to see when it went down, nobody was dangerous, but nobody was injured or anything like that. But I remember when I was a little boy, I remember David Armour would have I think it was a red 500 bike, and Brian Bisbane or the other one of the other Brisbane brothers would be wheeling up Santa Roma and so on. I mean, that's it seems that bike and so on, rites of passage. Myself, I've had some moments, and some of my assignments I've have in the military have included motorcycles and things like that. So, but anyway, I would just say this because we don't have a lot of time on the show left. But there were a lot of some quads, there were a lot of dirt bikes, there were some street bikes, and a lot of small kind of moped types of bikes, and people were going around different places around the island. And when they stopped over at last flight, they were going to Calabishi and then going to Portsmouth. And I just want to say shout out to those who organized this. And it looks like something like this. This types of patterns are good for people to enjoy low stress and high joy in ways that are safe, in ways that are enjoyable, and in ways that can be conducive to self management. So, Patrice, before as we're winding down, you had the taste of Nature Isle. You were there at Peaceology Acres. You came back. A few hours have gone. What are you feeling and thinking is something you'd like to experience for the next time you visit Nature Isle? As you think about it, based on this experience.
I think I would like to see more of the island,
Mm,
and that go to an actual beach,
mm.
and see, feel the sand, see the people there, and just the culture. Because I think most of the time we're inland, we're either in Roseau or Trafalgar, so it's like see a different location.
Yeah, that's a very good point because those of us in the Roseau Valley, especially in Trafalgar, and we right there, Waterhaven, we have the hot water, we have the waterfalls, we have so sometimes we need to venture out. My friend Merle and my cousin Maureen and others, they sometimes rent Janelle, and that's another guy. Numero uno, number one, the buzz, as he calls his company, lived there in Shafford, and they take the bus, they go to Lyre River, and Merle was telling me how they enjoyed Lyre River so much. And she told me that there's a hot water section right there in Lyre River. And the rain, right? And when we get the sun, we have to take it. The interesting thing, though, Patrice, we were in Trafalgar and we didn't go to some places because of the rain. And I learned from some of the young people that because it's raining in Trafalgar doesn't mean that it's raining somewhere else. So next time you're in Dominica, when it rains and we want to go to the beach, let us remind us that because it's raining in Trafalgar doesn't mean it's raining in Mayro or Portsmouth or so on, because oftentimes they are not in the middle of the rainforest, kind of as we are in this regard. So as we wind down our show, Colin, what are some of your last thoughts? Anything that come to mind? Where shout out to anybody in the Silver Lake community?
Well, and
Anything
to
you
shout
say?
out to my Silver Lake community here, Silver Lake, my people in the community of Silver Lake, and to shout out to my sponsors, National Cooperative Credit Union and Alvin Antoine, and to sponsor to my teachers, my family members, my friends, and so on.
Yes, well, it's been a pleasure. I also want to thank Miss Gloria Welch from Love World Teacher and Foundation that have been with us. By the way, you went to some of the etiquette dinners, right, with Miss Welch, right? Did you go to some of the etiquette dinners at the end of the year? There were some etiquette dinners where you sit on the table, use your fork, use your spoon, and eat in the. You attended some of those?
No.
No, no, but you attended some of the other events, so better me, better you. And we want to thank you so much for participating and thank your family members and friends, all of the people of Silver Lake, Baffin State, and others who have supported us. And as we're about to end our show, we're going to leave you with Know the Story of Our Peace, and then we will get into our instrumental to end our show. Thank you so much for listening. And Patrice, what are your final words to our listeners and callers? She's
Yeah, I don't have any final words. I think honestly this was a great show and I can't wait for the next one.
well said. Know the story of our peace.
Thinking like you're never going to see that school again.
Nick would take them into hiding for years, across the world, to the most remote place they could think of, the wilds of Australia's outback. Here, the family could stay together. But as supplies ran low, and isolation and crocodiles nipped at their heels, things got more and more desperate.